Hey guys, so this is another Mandela effect, idea for a Mandela effect that I'm going to ask you about because I'm not totally 100% sure. And the way I see the Mandela effect and the Mandela effect community and the advantage of the Mandela effect community is to be able to ask each other questions and see if something could be a Mandela effect or not. Now, it's so weird because I realized just now in shunting away ideas about alternate realities that maybe could come from my psyche, I do myself a great disservice because the amount of cognitive dissonance I have to exercise is just beyond compare. The way that I first realized this was with the Fraser Crane Space Needle. I've done several videos on it, and the first one just kind of explored some residual evidence that the Space Needle was all the way to the left of the screen and it was really far back. And now when I went back and watched the entire series, and I didn't even notice it until I got to about the end of the series, was that the Space Needle was more in the middle of the screen, in the middle of the window, totally up facing the window, and you could only see the legs. Like the camera angle almost never got it so that you could see the UFO top. So anyway, that's why I need to consult and check in with you guys. So this is the Pillsbury Doughboy. This post came from Facebook, I think from about 2011, and I just thought it was funny because the Pillsbury Doughboy always makes me giggle. And what I wrote was, and now that we've given the Michelin Man his due, 'tis time to honor those other white, blubbery, amorphous, wide-eyed, toothless brand name characters, commencing with dun 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 Pillsy. That's my British name for him, Pillsy. So in other words, Pillsy has always reminded me of the Michelin Man and various and sundry other characters, which I will get to in a moment. But it was so weird because right when I was prepping to make this video, I thought to myself, oh my God, the Michelin Man does link up with the Pillsbury Doughboy as far as the Mandela effect goes. Because back in 2011, I recalled this dream. The dream made such an impression on me that I actually logged it on Facebook. And the story was that I was, and this is peripheral, by the way, like the Michelin Man was peripherally involved with all things Mandela. Not only does he remind me of the Pillsbury Doughboy, but the way that he appeared to me in a dream, and by the way, I've never had a dream about the Michelin Man before or since. It was totally random, but he appeared to me in a dream because I remember I was at this all-night barbecue. It was outside like an auto body shop, and I was standing there with, of all people, and I don't remember what he looked like, but I knew who it was, Harley Davidson's either son or grandson. I'm pretty sure it was his son. And we were standing there and I was just talking with him. I don't remember the conversation. And then all of a sudden, Harley Davidson's son, and Harley Davidson, of course, is a Mandela effect for some folks. It's not for me, but some people do believe that Davidson didn't always have the D in it. So anyway, we're looking up at the sky. And all of a sudden, it's like these lights came into the sky, and they were like northern lights. And Harley Davidson's son told me to look up at the sky, and I looked up, and there were all these lights like flying above us, kind of like the way the ocean is kind of glowing now with all the, I don't know if it's jellyfish or whatnot, but it's really cool. It's phosphoric something. It's a phosphorus glow. But anyway, he said, look up at the sky. So I looked up, and there were all these lights, and then the lights started taking the form. There was one set of lights that started taking the form of the Michelin Man. And I remember the Michelin Man was darting and he was flying in and out of the clouds, and you can tell right there that he's meditating, so he's not above that. Well, actually, technically he is physically above it, but in terms of spirituality, he is way above this kind of spirituality that we think he is. He was flying in and out of the clouds and darting in and out between the clouds. And I remember Harley Davidson's son and I kept looking up and we were like, there he is, there he is. And it was like so exciting, and it was so random, and I have no idea why I would have had that dream, because I'm not a car person, I'm not a bike person, I'm none of those things. I wasn't on the verge of getting a car or bike, so it was just really interesting. But in any case, back to Pillsy. So I looked the Pillsbury Doughboy up online a few different ways because I wanted to make sure the way that I remembered him, or the way that I remember him appearing, might not have happened, and I just saw it, and maybe it was just sort of a fashion change for him for a time. But I couldn't find anything. My first looking up at the Pillsbury Doughboy was funny though, because I did come up with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, again in the same genus and species of amorphous, gelatinous, doughy type characters. And he has the same costume. He has the same costuming concept, which is really, really funny. I feel like all these like amorphous, gelatinous characters have the same costume concept. So anyway, white neckerchief. Yes, I'm one of those people who always remembered it as being blue. More white neckerchiefs. And then we come to the Michelin Man. He does not have a neckerchief, but he does have a beauty pageant sash, which is really, really funny. And I guess it comes in different colors. But I like him most when he's totally naked. All right. So we got him there, more practicing his spirituality. Okay. So come to an Arsenio Hall monologue that I remember from years and years and years ago. And this is where I had to exercise the cognitive dissonance, because I always, even the Pillsbury Doughboy without the shirt always seemed really, really plain and generic to me. It just even still looked like something was missing. And all these years, my cognitive dissonance kept telling me, oh, it's just that he's got a white neckerchief. It kind of blends into his body. Very, very milquetoast. Nothing excitingly fashionable about it. But okay, so I kept going with that. But for whatever reason, and I was thinking of this monologue this morning, I tend to remember the Pillsbury Doughboy having a shirt. What kind of shirt, you say? Well, first to check out that I wasn't maybe confusing him for someone else gelatinous and white and amorphous, I looked up what fictitious characters wear a shirt but no pants. And I mean, I just wanted to look that up because I always remember him wearing a shirt, and I wanted to see if any of these characters rang a bell. Now, Porky Pig kind of rings a bell, but it's really more of a jacket. But, you know, Porky Pig is just doughy. I mean, that's the thing with Porky Pig. But it's still not all the way. And I know it wasn't Donald Duck because he has feathers. And then it was kind of funny because the Mickey Mouse image came up too. And Mickey Mouse, it's just kind of funny to see these two juxtaposed to one another because Donald Duck has no pants and Mickey Mouse has no shirt. And I'm like, so why is there such this juxtaposition? I don't know. And it was so weird because as soon as I saw this picture, I remembered as a child having a plastic Mickey Mouse doll. And like even in 2016, when I heard about the whole Mickey Mouse thing, I was like, that I don't know about. But for whatever reason, seeing this picture brought me totally back. And I'm like, I remember having a plastic Mickey Mouse doll. And he was so cute. He had almost what looked like plastic feet. Like you could take his big clodhopper shoes off. And he had the cutest little feet with the cutest little toes. But the main pièce de résistance that I remember about him is that he had these teeny tiny little suspender straps that were always falling off or coming down. So that's like a total sense memory for me. So that's a little off topic, but I thought it was really interesting. But you're talking with cartoon characters with shirts and no pants, which is highly amusing. But Donald Duck is not half as funny as Pillsy. He never was. I mean, he might have made jokes, but who could understand him through all his talk? So anyway, I looked up some more characters, the nephews. Oh, and then we have Yogi and Boo Boo. And they always had like their own neckerchief type things. There are things around their neck. And Winnie the Pooh. Oh my gosh. I could have sworn when I looked at this picture and I looked this up, Winnie the Pooh had a shirt on. He had his red shirt on, but maybe that's the joke because Mickey Mouse is trying it on. That's weird. Coming from this page to this page. But anyway, so I couldn't find any other characters that it could be that I would associate with the Arsenio Hall monologue. So anyway, I looked up Pillsbury Doughboy. Did the Pillsbury Doughboy ever wear a shirt? And all I came up with was shirt photos. This one cracked me up in particular because like this kid looks so badass. He's like, yeah. And then they show us like the back of the shirt. Like, is it like, first of all, there's nothing on it. And second of all, as if we couldn't imagine what the back of the shirt would look like. Okay, whatever. So that was hilarious. But come to the shirt that I thought it was. I looked up baker's shirt or chef's shirt. Now, of course, it wouldn't have been this long, but it would have been a shirt with two blue buttons same color as Pillsy's eyes, looking like Pillsy's eyes on his shirt. You want to get into the multi-eye symbolism, I guess that's what that is. But this is always the kind of shirt that I would remember. Not as baggy, coming up like more, right where like a teenage girl's, oh, what do you call it? Like those teenage girls' shirts that show off their midriff. Like Pillsy was always big on showing off the midriff. Of course, Pillsy's big on showing off his whole body now. But I always seem to remember in the back of my mind, Pillsy had a shirt with the 2 blue buttons. And of course, he still had the neckerchief. We're not taking away the neckerchief. But I just always felt like he was more clothed because the way he looks now is so plain. So anyway, what I'm saying, he just looks so plain. But, so I went back and I looked up the Arsenio Hall monologue that I seem to remember it coming from, because what I remember is Arsenio Hall making some jokes, and it couldn't have been about Donald Duck, because again, I don't find Donald Duck funny. But it was basically Arsenio Hall just riffing on Pillsbury Doughboy. And he was saying, yeah, he wears a shirt but no pants. Be interesting to find out what's up with him. And I remember just him saying, what's up with him? And I couldn't really find any of his monologues, because what I did is I looked up, I'm sure they're on there, but I looked up Arsenio Hall Pillsbury Doughboy. And this was the monologue I got. And then I scrolled down and there just wasn't really anything else. But it was weird because you know how he would always talk to his dog pound. Sometimes he would divide the audience up into groups. He's like, these people are this people, or these people are those people. And he would do it, I think, later on in the history of his show. But in any case, he never talked about the Pillsbury Doughboy, but I seem to remember him riffing on certain things. And some nights he would only speak to the dog pound. Some nights he would only speak to other parts of the audience. But the reason why I think my memory is correct is because he was riffing on characters that were mascots for foodstuffs. Because in this monologue, even though he never mentioned the Pillsbury Doughboy, and this is the monologue that came up when I looked for Arsenio Hall Pillsbury Doughboy, he put the dog pound into people who have had deep philosophical discussions with Mrs. Butterworth. And I seem to remember the next night or a night after, I watched a lot of Arsenio Hall because I just loved it. I seem to remember he was making reference to the audience having something to do with the Pillsbury Doughboy. And that's when he made that joke that he was wearing a shirt and no pants and what's up with him. Because I really, when I look back at the Disney characters, I don't think about that. The Disney characters are too colorful, number one. Number two, it's a funny joke, but I seem to remember a really smooth, amorphous, gelatinous creature that was as funny as a Pillsbury Doughboy, which made me laugh more than it would if he had said Donald Duck or Porky Pig or whatever. Although, if it could have been anybody, it might have been Porky Pig, but technically Porky Pig wears a jacket, not a shirt, so I don't know. Porky Pig is my second funniest guy who would have worn a jacket or a shirt with no pants. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting. I couldn't find any residual evidence other than that, although I did also look up some Pillsbury Doughboy collector's items videos, and I remember there used to be a Pillsbury Dough girl. I don't remember what she sounded like, but I had a voiceover class when I was in college, and so they wanted to get us prepared to do voiceovers for commercials or cartoons when we got out, if that's what we chose to do. And my voice teacher said, yeah, there used to be a Pillsbury Dough girl. But then she never talked about any of the other characters. But apparently, and you'd think this is the Pillsbury Dough girl, it's not. The one in the center is supposedly the Pillsbury Doughboy's son, even though it looks like he's wearing a bonnet. And the child's name is Popper. It's funny because the Pillsbury Doughboy never had a name. He's just Pillsy. And I'm the only one who calls him Pillsy. But the funny thing is, oh, and by the way, the thing on the right is a dog. I thought it was a Pillsbury pig, but it's a dog. But the funny thing is that look what he's wearing. He's wearing a shirt. A shirt. And now he's being pilfered. Pillsbury being pilfered. But it's just so weird. So the son's wearing a shirt, but I wouldn't be thinking about the son, and nobody would be joking about the Pillsbury Doughboy's son wearing a shirt and no pants. But of course, he doesn't really have no legs. He could be wearing a skirt for all we know. He really does look like a girl. This is a really gender-bending character. But anyway, I mean, I just thought it was interesting and weird. And like, I don't I don't know if it's true. I mean, it could have been Porky Pig that he was talking about or Donald Duck, but I was really, oh my God, you guys, I was really obsessed with the Pillsbury Doughboy when I was younger. And even now, because he's just such an interesting, fun, like squeezy kind of character. Like you could make, well, you don't have any, but if they could make like a stress buster Pillsbury Doughboy, that'd be so good. If you guys ever hear of a stress buster thing that you can really squeeze, that would be so good. And I guess the reason I'm partly so into that is because I got my purple mattress. I got my purple mattress squeezy thing, and during the pandemic old times, like sometimes I get stressed and then I just squeeze it because I can't see my acupuncturist and my chiropractor right now. So I got to squeeze something and de-stress. But anyway, that said, I'll tell you what I always say. Tell me what you think and tell me what you know. And I got to get it on a good still cuz I'm like OCD like that. And peace out. That's a good one. Yo. All right, peace out.